Welcome to Starbound Valor HFY. Subscribe now and dive into daily epic sci-fi adventures, where humanity always rises. Earth had no idea that far beyond its sky, hidden in the cold darkness of space, a silent threat was moving toward it. The galaxy's most feared empire, the Void Dominion, had already crushed dozens of planets, leaving only ruins behind. Their ships were large, black, and built for war. Their leaders believed that strength was the only law of life. To them, Earth was nothing more than an easy next target, a young planet with weak armies, slow technology, and people who still fought each other over small things. The Vorik scouts laughed at how simple the mission would be. They sent a small stealth ship to observe Earth from a distance, to learn its defenses before the full attack. Captain Rovan, the commander of the scout ship, stood inside the dark control room and watched Earth on the hologram screen. The blue planet looked peaceful, almost too peaceful. He tightened his jaw. Peaceful planets were always the easiest to destroy. His crew worked quietly, scanning Earth's cities, radio signals, and satellite patterns. Everything looked normal. They found no superweapons, no advanced shields, no alien help, no strange energy. Earth was exactly what they expected, a simple world. But then something strange happened. A signal appeared on their system. It was small at first, almost like a tiny whisper of static. The crew ignored it, thinking it was just background noise. But the signal grew louder. It repeated. It pushed its way into their communication systems. The crew tried to block it, but the message forced itself inside the ship as if it was alive. A sharp alarm rang across the control room. Captain Rovan spun around. What is this? Where is it coming from? The officer shook his head in fear. Sir, it is coming from Earth. Everyone froze. Humans should not be able to send a signal to a hidden alien ship. The Vorik ship was using full stealth mode. No one should have detected it. The message started playing, and the sound filled the room. It was a voice, but it was not a normal voice. It spoke in hundreds of languages at the same time, including languages only ancient species used. Each crew member heard it differently, as if the voice was talking directly to each of their minds. Do not approach Earth. The crew stared at each other, confused and terrified. The voice continued. Turn back. Your presence is known. Captain Rovan felt a chill run down his spine. Something was wrong. Humans did not have this ability. No species in the galaxy could speak every language at once. No species could break into Vorik systems that easily. He ordered a deeper scan of Earth. The scan returned impossible results. It showed a strange energy around Earth, something invisible, something ancient, something powerful. It looked like a shield made of pure thought, not technology. The crew began to panic. One of the junior officers shouted, Sir, the message is changing. The voice suddenly shifted. It was no longer calm. It was louder, colder, stronger. It said something that made the entire crew stop breathing. It spoke the captain's name. Rovan, you should not be here. The captain stepped back. Fear pressed on his chest like a heavy stone. How did the voice know his name? How did it know his thoughts? The message continued. Your mission will fail. Leave now, or face consequences. The voice faded, and the room went silent. The crew felt as if their minds were still ringing from the sound. The lights flickered. Every system on the ship rebooted without command. Rovan tried to restart control, but the system refused to obey. It was as if the ship itself had been taken over. The crew whispered among themselves. Some thought Earth was protected by an unknown ancient race. Some believed the message was a trap. Others thought Earth was hiding a power much greater than the Void Dominion. Captain Rovan refused to show fear, but his hands were shaking. He ordered the ship to retreat to a safer distance. As they moved back, a strange pulse of energy followed them. It was not a weapon, but it felt like they were being watched, like something was tracking their thoughts. When they finally reached a safe position, Rovan sent the recorded message to the Vorik High Command. Within minutes, the message spread to other powerful alien races. Panic rippled across star systems. No one understood the message. No one could explain the energy around Earth. And no one could explain how a simple planet could predict the captain's name. Leaders argued. Scientists panicked. Military commanders prepared for war. Some aliens decided Earth must be destroyed before it grew too powerful. Others believed Earth was chosen by an unknown force. But all agreed on one thing. The message came from Earth, and it changed everything. Captain Rovan stared at the blue planet one last time. He felt that something terrible was about to happen, not just to the Vorik, but to the entire galaxy. And deep inside, he feared that Earth was not the weak planet they thought it was. Something on Earth was awake, something powerful, something watching, and the galaxy was about to face the consequences. The strange message from Earth spread through the galaxy like a shockwave, reaching every powerful empire, every military base, every research center, and every hidden station. No one expected anything special from a small blue planet at the edge of the galaxy. But now Earth was at the center of every discussion. Leaders who once ignored Earth now gathered in panic, trying to understand how a simple world could send a message that broke into Vorik systems, spoke in 1,000 languages, and even predicted the name of a Vorik captain. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting, the first one in many years. Their giant hall was filled with bright holograms of worried alien leaders. Some had glowing eyes, others had metallic skin, some floated instead of walking, but all shared the same fear. The Vorik commander stood first, showing the recording. When the voice said Captain Rovan's name, many leaders gasped. This was not normal technology. This was something far beyond any known power. The Kaelon Republic argued that Earth must have made contact with an ancient species. The Vexari swarm believed Earth was hiding a cosmic weapon. The Siraxi monks said the message was not technology at all, but a spiritual warning from a guardian race. Panic grew. If Earth had such a powerful ally, then attacking Earth could start a war the galaxy could not survive. But if Earth itself had evolved this power, then humanity was becoming something dangerous. Many leaders debated what to do, but no one agreed. Some wanted to destroy Earth immediately before it could grow stronger. Others wanted to send a peace mission and understand the truth. Each argument caused more fear. Reports came in from across space. The strange energy around Earth kept growing. It was invisible to normal scanners, but visible to high-level quantum sensors. It looked like a living shield, almost like a sleeping giant wrapping its arms around the planet. Scientists were confused. No machine could create this kind of energy. Many believed this was not human-made. The Vorik High Council, however, was full of anger. They had never been challenged before. To them, the message was an insult, a threat. They demanded action. But before any decision could be made, another terrifying event happened. Across the galaxy, in the capital world of the Tolaris Empire, alarms screamed as satellites detected a massive power spike near the planet's moon. Defense systems activated instantly. Warships moved into position. Everyone believed an attack was coming. Instead, a voice, the same voice from the Earth message, rippled across the entire city. People froze in fear. Leaders fainted. Children cried. The message was short but clear. You must not harm Earth. Then a wave of bright light crossed the moon. A second later, the moon exploded. A huge shockwave hit the city, destroying buildings, burning forests, and shaking the planet's core. Millions died in seconds. Everything happened exactly at the same time the Earth message had predicted. Panic turned into terror. The entire galaxy realized the message was not bluffing. Something connected to Earth had real power. Power that could destroy worlds without using any ships or weapons. The Tolaris capital falling sent every species into chaos. News channels showed images of the destroyed moon. Military fleets went on high alert. Civilizations locked their borders, afraid Earth would be next. Conspiracy theories spread. Some believed Earth was protected by beings from another dimension. Some believed Earth had awakened an ancient sleeping AI. Some believed Earth was the birthplace of a forgotten god. The galaxy was tearing itself apart with fear. Meanwhile, in the Vorik Dominion, Captain Rovan was summoned before the Emperor. The Emperor had cold, burning eyes and a voice that echoed like thunder. He demanded the truth. Rovan told him everything. The invisible shield, the message, the way it spoke inside their minds. The Emperor listened in silence, then gave a chilling order. Earth must be destroyed before its power grows. But many Vorik generals hesitated. They had seen the capital explosion. They had watched the moon vanish into dust. If Earth, or whatever lived around Earth, could do that without warning, then sending a Vorik fleet might mean the end of the Vorik dominion. The galaxy was caught between two choices: attack Earth and risk destruction, or leave Earth alone and risk letting humanity become unstoppable. But just when tension was at its highest, something new happened. An unknown ship appeared in deep space, broadcasting a message to all major civilizations. No one recognized the ship design. No one could understand the strange symbols painted on its hull. When the message began, every translation device in the galaxy stopped working. The voice spoke directly into minds. You fear Earth because you do not understand it. The Guardians are watching. Do not make a mistake you cannot erase. Then the ship vanished into a burst of blue light, leaving no trace. Scientists tried to track it, but found nothing. The galaxy was now more confused and more afraid than before. Every leader realized one terrifying truth. If Guardians existed, they were far beyond the galaxy's level, and they were protecting Earth. The fear turned into desperation. Some races prepared evacuation plans. Others began building new weapons. A few small civilizations even prayed. The galaxy no longer saw Earth as a weak planet. Earth had become a mystery, a threat, a warning, and everyone was waiting for the next message, the one that might decide the fate of the entire galaxy. The destruction of the Tolaris moon sent the entire galaxy into a storm of fear, but fear soon turned into pure panic when the strange message from Earth began predicting something even worse. Galactic sensors picked up a small coded fragment inside the original warning, and when scientists across many star systems translated it, they discovered a terrifying countdown. The message predicted the exact time when a major alien capital would fall, and no one believed it at first. But after the moon explosion proved the prediction true, everyone turned their eyes to the next target, the capital world of the Drakkar Union, one of the strongest military empires in the galaxy. The Drakkar leaders laughed at the idea of Earth having such power. They believed it was all a trick, maybe a Vorik plan to weaken other civilizations. They activated their massive planetary shields, turned on every defense cannon, and deployed hundreds of ships around their world. The Drakkar were proud warriors, famous for winning every battle they ever fought. They refused to bow to fear. But as the countdown reached its final hours, the city streets grew empty. Families hid underground, and even the strongest soldiers felt their hearts shaking inside their armor. The moment the countdown hit 1 hour, the strange energy around Earth grew stronger, visible on every high-level scanner in the galaxy. It pulsed like a heartbeat, as if something ancient was waking up. Scientists tried to warn the Drakkar leaders, but they refused to listen. They believed no invisible force could break through their walls. Meanwhile, other alien nations watched with dread from afar. They had seen the moon explosion. They knew this was not a game. They prepared evacuation ships and emergency shelters on their own planets. Rumors spread across star channels. Some said Earth was controlled by gods. Others said Earth had a hidden machine that could rewrite physics. And a few whispered that humans themselves were changing, evolving into something impossible. When the countdown reached 10 minutes, something strange happened over the Drakkar capital. All communication systems failed at once. Their powerful satellites went offline. Warships froze in space, unable to move or fire. It was not a weapon, it was something far worse. It was a complete shutdown of reality inside a huge invisible sphere around the planet. Panic erupted on the surface. Soldiers ran as systems died around them. Alarms failed. Engines failed. Even the planet's rotation slowed for several seconds. Then the voice returned, the same voice that had warned the Vorik scout ship. It echoed across the entire world, felt not through ears, but inside minds. You were warned, the voice said, calm and cold. Do not harm Earth. The Drakkar leader shouted in anger, trying to respond, but his voice did not leave his throat. The unseen force held him silent. The countdown hit 0, and the sky exploded. It was not a normal explosion. There was no fire, no smoke, no heat. The sky itself tore apart like a sheet of paper, revealing a dark void behind it. Massive cracks of white energy spread across the clouds, splitting the atmosphere into glowing fragments. The Drakkar capital city, its tallest towers, its government buildings, its main command center, was lifted into the air as if gravity stopped working. Millions of citizens screamed as the city floated upward, higher and higher, until it reached the cracks in the sky. Then, in one silent flash, the entire city vanished. Not destroyed, not burned, simply removed from existence. The cracks closed, the sky returned to normal, and the world fell silent. No one understood what happened. No debris fell. No wreckage remained. It was as if the capital had never existed at all. Across the galaxy, every leader watched in horror through their monitoring systems. The message from Earth had predicted this exactly, and it had come true in a way more terrifying than anyone imagined. The galaxy realized Earth was connected to something far beyond their understanding, something that could twist reality itself. The Drakkar Union collapsed into chaos. Their people demanded answers. Their soldiers refused to fight. Their scientists tried to explain the event but failed. Many believed this was not Earth's doing but the work of an ancient guardian force protecting Earth. When the Galactic Council gathered again, the room was filled with fear. No one dared speak loudly. Every leader knew the truth. If Earth or its protectors wanted to, they could erase any planet in the galaxy. Some suggested leaving Earth alone forever. Others suggested forming an alliance with Earth before another disaster happened. But a few war-hungry races argued that Earth must be destroyed quickly before its power spread. That idea terrified everyone, because the last two warnings had ended with disasters on a scale never seen before. Attacking Earth might bring something worse. But the galaxy was full of prideful leaders, and pride often leads to foolish decisions. As the fear grew, one paranoid leader whispered the words that would change everything. If Earth has this power now, imagine what it will become in the future. We cannot wait. We must act first. Those words spread quickly. Secret meetings began. Hidden fleets started preparing. Plans formed in the dark corners of the galaxy. And in those moments, while fear controlled every mind, no one noticed a small, faint signal rising from Earth again. Another message forming, another warning building, ready to shake the galaxy for the third time. The galaxy held its breath, unaware that the true nightmare had only just begun. The galaxy was drowning in fear, but fear soon turned into desperation, and desperation always creates dangerous ideas. After watching two great civilizations fall to the mysterious power connected to Earth, many alien leaders finally agreed in secret. They could not wait for another warning. They had to act first, strike fast, and destroy Earth before its guardians awakened again. So a hidden alliance of powerful empires formed a secret plan. They built a massive fleet of warships, stealth carriers, shadow cruisers, and silent destroyers, each equipped with weapons designed to break reality itself. This fleet did not travel through normal space lanes. It used forbidden warp routes that twisted through dead star systems and abandoned galaxies. Even the galaxy's lawkeepers had no idea such routes existed. The leaders of the Alliance gave only one command: erase Earth before it becomes unstoppable. The fleet used cloaking systems so advanced that even the Void Dominion could not detect them. Thousands of ships moved like ghosts across the void, leaving no trail behind. The crews on board were silent, afraid to even speak. They had all seen the destruction of the Drakkar capital. They knew what the warnings could do. Some whispered that this mission was suicide. Others believed Earth was bluffing. But none of them were ready for what waited near the solar system. As the secret fleet approached the edge of Earth's star system, something strange happened. Space itself felt thicker, heavier, like they were flying through invisible waves. Their sensors flickered. Their maps glitched. Some ships reported hearing whispers, but no voice was recorded. The captains ordered silence, fearing that the Guardians were watching. When they finally entered the solar system, everything changed. Without warning, every ship lost its engines for exactly 3 seconds. The fleet drifted helplessly in space. Then the engines restarted as if nothing happened. That 3 seconds felt like a nightmare. None of their systems showed any error. It was not a malfunction. It was a warning. But the commanders ignored it and continued forward. They activated their stealth shields and slowly moved toward Earth. From a distance, Earth looked small and harmless, just a blue planet covered in water and clouds. The commanders laughed quietly. "This is what the whole galaxy fears," one of them said. But when the fleet crossed a certain invisible line, an unknown border around Earth, every screen on every ship went black. Lights flickered. Gravity shifted. Alarms screamed across the fleet. None of the ships could move. Even the Admiral's flagship was frozen in space, like an insect trapped in ice. The crew panicked. They tried to restart the engines, but nothing worked. Their weapons refused to fire. Their shields collapsed. It was as if an unseen hand had grabbed the entire fleet and held it still. Then the darkness outside the ships began to move. Not with ships, not with creatures. It moved like a shadow with consciousness, a veil of black mist stretching across space. The shadow surrounded the fleet, swallowing starlight and silence. Then a voice echoed inside every mind at once, the same voice that had warned Dvorak, the same one that had destroyed the Drakkar capital. "You were warned," the voice said, calm but heavy like the weight of a collapsing star. "Turn back." The admirals tried to resist. They attempted to send a signal to their engines, but the shadow swallowed every command like a hungry creature. Suddenly, the voice changed. It became sharper, colder. "If you take one more step closer to Earth, you will not return." Every crew member felt their hearts stop. Some collapsed from the fear pressing against their minds. The admirals gathered in a secret transmission link, whispering urgently. Some demanded retreat. Others shouted that they must complete the mission. For a moment, the fleet hung between survival and destruction. Then one admiral, the most stubborn, the most prideful, deactivated his ship's safety locks and forced the engines online manually. His ship moved forward only a few meters. It was enough. The shadows reacted instantly. The admiral's ship compressed inward like an empty can crushed by a giant hand. It made no sound. It simply folded until nothing remained. The entire fleet froze in terror. The voice returned. "This is your final warning." The shadows thickened around the remaining ships, wrapping them like cold fingers. Reality around the fleet bent, causing stars to twist and warp. Time itself slowed. Fear filled their hearts like poison. The admiral of the remaining ships finally broke. He shouted a command. "Retreat! Retreat now!" The shadows loosened. Engines restarted on their own. The fleet spun around and ran away from Earth faster than they had ever moved in their lives. When they reached the edge of the solar system, the shadows vanished, leaving no trace behind. Space became normal again. Systems returned to working order as if nothing had happened. But the crew knew the truth. This was no technology. This was no weapon. This was something ancient, powerful, and alive. Something that wanted Earth protected. As the fleet limped away, the admiral looked back at the blue planet and whispered in horror, "What secrets are you hiding, Earth?" The galaxy waited for answers, but Earth gave none. Only silence. A silence far more terrifying than any weapon. And deep beneath Earth's clouds, something was watching, waiting for the next move. The secret fleet's retreat sent shockwaves across the galaxy. But the story was far from over, because one ship had not escaped with the others. The flagship of Admiral Corvin, damaged during the shadow attack, lost control and drifted toward Earth at high speed. His crew abandoned the ship in escape pods, but Corvin refused to leave. He believed that understanding Earth's secret was more important than saving his own life. His ship crashed into Earth's atmosphere like a burning star, tearing through clouds before smashing into a deserted field at the edge of a vast forest. The crash was violent, the ground shaking under the force, but somehow Corvin survived. The ship's emergency shield had triggered at the last second, saving him from turning into ashes. When he crawled out of the wreck, the air around him felt strangely calm. Birds flew overhead, insects buzzed, wind brushed against the grass, and sunlight warmed the soil. It was peaceful, too peaceful for a planet that had shaken the galaxy with fear. Corvin limped forward, confused. He expected soldiers with weapons, military drones, or advanced robots ready to capture him. Instead, he found nothing except the soft sound of nature. He scanned the surroundings, but his scanner showed no threats, no unusual readings, and no advanced technology. This only made him more nervous. A planet with such terrifying power should not be this silent. He walked toward the forest, hoping to find signs of life. After a few minutes, he heard footsteps behind him. He spun around, weapon ready, expecting an Earth soldier. But instead of a warrior, he saw a small human child standing a few meters away. She looked around 8 years old, wearing simple clothes, holding a small toy in her hand. Her eyes were calm, far too calm for someone who had just seen a burning alien ship fall from the sky. Corvin froze. The child stared at him, tilting her head slightly as if she was studying him. Then she spoke, in perfect Drakkar language, the same language spoken by his enemies in the galaxy. "You came too early," she said softly. Corvin's heart almost stopped. How could a human child speak an alien language, a language humans had never heard? He tried to speak, but words refused to leave his mouth. The girl smiled gently. "Do not be afraid. I know why you came. I know what you saw in space." Corvin stepped back, shaking. His weapon slipped from his hand. "What are you?" he finally managed to whisper. The child ignored the question. Instead, she pointed at the sky. They should not have sent a fleet. They were warned. Corvin stared at her in disbelief. Her voice had the same calmness as the mysterious message, the same weight, the same impossible echo. Was that you?" he asked, trembling. The girl shook her head. "No, not me. I am only a messenger." She lifted her hand, and the air around them shimmered like a heat wave. Suddenly Corvin saw images, visions, flashing in front of his eyes. He saw Earth in the future, but it was not the Earth he knew. He saw humans walking with glowing beings made of pure energy. He saw humans holding weapons forged from starlight. He saw human cities floating in space, powerful and advanced. And he saw the galaxy kneeling before a united human race. The vision changed again. He saw fires spreading across galaxies, planets exploding, civilizations falling. And in the center of it all, he saw Earth, surrounded by light, standing firm against an unknown enemy. When the vision ended, Corvin fell to his knees, gasping for air. The child watched him quietly, her face expressionless. "You wanted to destroy Earth," she said softly. "But Earth will be the one to save you." Corvin shook his head, unable to understand. "Save us? From who?" The child looked up at the sky, as if she could see something far beyond the stars. "From the one who is coming. From the one even the Guardians fear." Corvin felt cold inside. Every species in the galaxy was afraid of the Guardian force around Earth. If something existed that even they feared, then the galaxy had no hope. "You must tell your leaders," the girl continued. "Earth is not your enemy. Earth is your shield." Corvin tried to stand, but his legs felt weak. The child walked closer, her eyes glowing faintly. "Remember this," she whispered. "Humans are changing. They are growing. They will become what they were meant to be." Then, right in front of his eyes, the child vanished. Not disappeared slowly. She vanished instantly, like she was never there. No sound, no light, no trace. Corvin stared at the empty space where she had stood, his mind racing. Nothing in the galaxy could teleport like that, especially not a child. He knew then that Earth was not weak. Earth was not alone. And humans were something much more than simple creatures. As he staggered back to the wreck of his ship, he felt the weight of the entire galaxy pressing on his shoulders. He needed to return. He needed to warn them. But the question echoed in his mind like a nightmare. Would the galaxy believe him? And even worse, was it already too late? Corvin stumbled back into the broken remains of his crashed ship, his mind spinning with fear, confusion, and a strange sense of responsibility. Everything he had believed about Earth was wrong. The planet was not a sleeping monster or a silent weapon. It was something far greater, something beyond the understanding of any species in the galaxy. He activated the emergency beacon inside the ship, hoping his fleet, or what was left of it, could detect him. As he waited, his thoughts kept returning to the child who spoke an alien language, who showed him visions of the future, who vanished like a ghost. Nothing about her made sense. Was she human? Was she something else pretending to be human? Corvin pressed a hand against his forehead, trying to calm himself, but the images replayed in his mind again and again, burning galaxies, collapsing civilizations, and the bright, glowing humans of the future. After an hour of waiting, a small rescue craft appeared in the sky and landed beside the wreckage. 2 soldiers ran out, their armor scratched and their faces pale. "Admiral," one of them shouted, "we thought you were dead." Corvin forced himself to stand. "Take me to the command ship," he ordered, his voice weak but firm. Immediately, the soldiers obeyed without question. As the craft shot upward through the atmosphere, Corvin stared down at the planet growing smaller beneath him. He felt as if eyes were watching him from the surface, silent, ancient, and powerful. When he reached the command ship, the surviving fleet officers gathered in the war room. Their faces were tight with fear. They had seen Earth's Guardian Force destroy entire ships with a single whisper. When Corvin entered, the room fell silent. "Admiral," Commander Rack said, "we need your orders. Should we retreat to home worlds? Should we warn the Alliance? Should we hide?" Corvin took a slow breath. "None of those," he said. "We must declare Earth protected territory. No one must attack it again." Shock spread across the room. Officers murmured in disbelief. Rack slammed his hand on the table. "Protected territory? That planet is a threat to us all." "No," Corvin said sharply. "It is not our enemy." He told them everything he had seen, the child, the visions, the message. He explained that Earth would become a light in the darkness, a planet destined to rise and save the galaxy from an enemy even the Guardians feared. When he finished, the room was silent, heavy with confusion and fear. Finally Rack spoke, his voice trembling slightly. "Admiral, are you sure this was real? A child who speaks alien languages? Visions of the future? Teleportation? This sounds impossible." Corvin stared into his eyes. "Everything about Earth is impossible." The officers exchanged uncertain glances. Some believed him. Some doubted. Some were simply terrified. "We must warn the Council of Worlds," Corvin said. "If we do nothing, the galaxy will not survive what is coming." The fleet set course for the Central System, where the Council of Worlds, the largest political power in the galaxy, waited. The journey took several days. Rumors spread quickly. Some said Earth had hidden gods. Others said the planet had awakened ancient beings. Some believed Earth was a trap created by an unknown race. By the time Corvin arrived at the council, fear had already taken root. The council chamber was huge, filled with representatives from 100 species. When Corvin entered, everyone turned to look at him. He walked to the center of the chamber, feeling their eyes burning into him. The High Speaker, a tall being with crystalline skin, spoke first. "Admiral Corvin, you led an unauthorized mission to Earth. Your fleet suffered heavy losses. Explain yourself." Corvin straightened his back. "Earth is not what we believed. It must not be touched. It must not be provoked." A ripple of whispers spread across the chamber. The High Speaker raised a hand. "Why?" Corvin took a deep breath. "Because Earth is protected by a force we cannot understand. We were warned before we attacked. We ignored the warning. We paid the price." He told them everything. The message in space, the destruction of the ships, the mysterious child, the visions of the future, the threat that was coming. When he finished, the chamber erupted with noise. Some representatives demanded war. Some demanded retreat. Some called him a liar. Some called him a prophet. "Silence," the High Speaker commanded. The room quieted. "You speak of visions," the High Speaker said. "But visions are not evidence. Do you bring proof?" Corvin hesitated. Proof. The one thing he did not have. The child had vanished. The visions were seen only by him. His words fell into a pit of doubt. "No," Corvin admitted. "I have no physical proof. But everything I saw was real." Laughter erupted from some corners of the chamber. Others stared in fear. Then, the High Speaker said coldly, "Your warning cannot be accepted." Corvin felt a chill spread through his chest. "If you ignore this," he said quietly, "the galaxy will fall." The High Speaker responded, "If danger truly comes, we will face it, but we will not surrender our authority to fear based on a single man's story." Corvin realized then that the council would do nothing. They would not prepare. They would not listen. They would not believe until it was too late. As he left the chamber, he felt a dark shadow settle over his heart. He had seen the future, and the council had just turned away from the only path that might save them. Somewhere in the endless stars, something was coming. Something powerful enough to scare even Earth's guardians. And now the galaxy was unprepared. Corvin walked through the silent halls of the council building with heavy steps, feeling the weight of failure pressing down on his shoulders. But the moment he reached the exit, he felt something strange in the air, like a quiet vibration moving around him, as if space itself was trying to whisper a warning he could not hear clearly. He paused, looking up at the tall sky windows, wondering if the strange child from Earth was somehow watching him even now. Before he could think further, Commander Rax ran after him. "Admiral, the fleet is preparing to depart. The Council wants us to return home and wait for further orders." Corvin shook his head. "We cannot wait. Waiting is death." Rax looked torn between loyalty and fear. "What do you plan to do?" Corvin answered softly. "We must find proof. Something the Council cannot ignore." Rax frowned. "Proof from where?" Corvin hesitated, then said, "From Earth." Rax's eyes widened in disbelief. "You want to go back? After everything?" "Yes," Corvin said. "It is the only way." They returned to the fleet, and Corvin ordered a smaller research group, only 3 ships, to follow him secretly. He could not risk taking the full fleet again. If Earth's Guardian Force saw them, it might think he was attacking. As the small group left the central system, Corvin sat inside his command chair, staring at the dark space ahead. He wondered if he was losing his mind, but deep inside he knew something important was waiting on Earth, something he had not yet understood. Several days passed before the blue planet appeared again on their screens. The bridge grew tense. Even Rax seemed nervous. "Admiral," he said, "no signs of Earth defense yet." Corvin felt the same fear he had felt before, a fear that Earth was watching them silently. "Approach slowly," he ordered. The ships drifted forward, inch by inch. No beams of light, no warnings, nothing. It felt wrong, like the silence before a great storm. The ships entered low orbit. The Earth appeared calm and peaceful below them. Oceans glowed under the sunlight. Cities sparkled faintly in the darkness. Nothing looked threatening, but Corvin knew the truth. "Prepare a landing craft," he said. "We're going down." Rax exhaled sharply. "If the Guardians appear, then they will appear," Corvin said. "But I must know why that child showed me the future. She chose me for a reason." A landing craft descended through the clouds and touched down on a quiet grassy field on Earth's surface. Wind moved gently. Birds flew overhead. The team stepped out cautiously, expecting something strange, but everything looked normal. That made it even more unsettling. They walked forward until Corvin suddenly stopped. Something felt familiar. The air felt the same as before. The energy, the silence. Then he heard it, a soft voice behind him. "You came back." Corvin turned sharply and saw her, the same small girl with brown hair and bright eyes that looked far older than her appearance. Rax stepped forward with fear, but Corvin raised a hand. "Do not move," he said. The girl smiled gently. "You came faster than I expected." Corvin's heart pounded. "You knew I would return." "Yes," she said, "because you are afraid, and because they did not believe you." Rax whispered, "Admiral, what is this creature?" The girl tilted her head. "I am human." Corvin shook his head slowly. "You are not an ordinary human." The girl stepped closer. "No human is ordinary. Not now. Not in the future." Corvin stared at her. "Why did you show me those visions? Why me?" "Because you are the first to listen," she said simply. "Others only see Earth as weak. You saw the truth." Corvin took a breath. "I need proof. Something the Council cannot deny. The galaxy is not prepared for the threat you showed me." The girl's expression grew serious. "The enemy is coming sooner than you think. They are already moving between the dark spaces of the galaxy. The Council will not believe until they see destruction." "Then help me stop it," Corvin said. "Help me make them believe." The girl looked up at the sky as if she was listening to something distant. "Very well," she said at last. "I will show you more." The ground around them began to shake gently, not violently, but as if the land was breathing. Light rose slowly from the grass, swirling upward in white waves. Rack stumbled back, terrified, as the land transformed into a shining field of glowing patterns, circles, symbols, and lines that stretched as far as they could see. "This," the girl said, "is the ancient network that protects Earth. It has been here longer than humans. It sleeps until danger comes. Your people never saw it because it never needed to wake before." Corvin stared in awe. This was the proof he needed, a living, intelligent energy structure under Earth itself. "Why?" Corvin whispered. "Why is Earth protected this way?" The girl looked at him with eyes that were suddenly glowing with silver light. "Because Earth will stand at the center of the final war, and without Earth, the galaxy will be lost." Rax fell silent. The words hit him like a strike. Corvin took a step forward. "Can I show this to the council?" "Yes," the girl said, "but they still may not listen." Corvin nodded slowly. "Then I will make them listen." The glowing patterns began to fade as the energy settled back into the ground. The girl stepped backward. "We will meet again soon, Admiral Corvin, when the darkness finally arrives." Before he could speak again, she vanished, disappearing into thin air like a shadow dissolved by sunlight. Corvin stood frozen. He had the proof. He had the warning. Now the galaxy had no excuse to ignore him. The return of Corvin and his team to the fleet brought a tense silence over the command rooms of the remaining ships, but the calm was temporary, because the visions and proof from Earth had spread quickly through their communications, reaching other nearby fleets and commanders, and soon the whispers of an ancient power protecting a small blue planet were echoing across the galaxy, creating a storm of fear, awe, and confusion. Corvin sat in the command chair, staring at the holographic maps of star systems around him, and he realized that everything he had thought he knew about the universe was wrong, that every civilization that had called themselves strong and powerful was now vulnerable to a force beyond comprehension, and he could feel the weight of responsibility pressing on him like the gravity of a collapsing star, because the child's words were clear. The enemy was coming, and Earth was the only hope to stop it. Meanwhile, in the depths of space, unknown ships moved silently, leaving no trace behind, following dark paths between galaxies, approaching systems unnoticed, their presence felt only as a subtle shift in the stars, as if the universe itself was holding its breath, waiting for something terrible to arrive, and Corvin knew that the Council of Worlds would not act fast enough to prepare, because fear had not yet overcome pride, and pride always delayed action. He called an emergency meeting of the fleet commanders and spoke to them in simple, clear terms, telling them everything he had witnessed, showing them the patterns of energy under Earth, the living shield, the ancient network, and the visions of humans rising with cosmic guardians to face an enemy of unimaginable power. And as he spoke, the commanders stared in disbelief, some shaking, some whispering, some turning pale, because the truth of Earth's role in the coming war was far greater than any battle they had ever imagined. Yet, even with this knowledge, no one could fully comprehend the scale of what was approaching, a cosmic entity older than the oldest stars, whose awakening would reshape the galaxy. And Corvin felt a chill deep in his bones as he realized that all the wars, all the empires, all the fleets assembled in pride and power would mean nothing when the darkness arrived. Then, as if to remind them of the stakes, a transmission arrived from the far edge of the galaxy, faint and distorted, yet unmistakably a warning. The enemy had already begun its approach, moving through intergalactic voids faster than known warp technology, leaving no signature for detection until it was almost upon them. And Corvin's fleet felt the fear ripple through their hulls, through their minds, and through the very air around them, because they understood that Earth was the first and only line of defense, and if it fell, the entire galaxy would follow. Corvin ordered the fleet to set course for Earth, but this time not to attack, not to observe, not to scout, but to unite, to prepare for the coming storm. And as they traveled, he briefed every officer, every soldier, every navigator, explaining that humans were not ordinary, that they were awakening to powers guided by ancient guardians, that the planet itself was alive in ways that could not be measured by science, and that the child had shown him a glimpse of what humans would become. Beings who could stand against darkness itself. Beings whose courage and unity would shape the future of every star system. When the fleet finally reached low orbit, the sight of Earth took their breath away, because the planet now seemed alive, glowing faintly with a soft, pulsing light, oceans shimmering like silver under the sun, forests stretching endlessly, and cities flickering with signs of life. Yet nothing threatening, nothing aggressive, only the quiet, calm power that had warned and protected itself for centuries. And then, from beneath the planet's surface, a massive structure began to rise. Ancient and enormous, glowing with energy, the original Guardian base, far older than human memory. Its appearance filling the fleet with awe and terror, because it was a reminder that Earth had always been prepared, that the Guardians were real, and that the galaxy's fate depended on what humans would do in the next hours and days. The fleets hovered silently, unable to comprehend the scale, while the child appeared briefly, standing at the edge of the base, her eyes glowing with silver light, and she raised a hand, sending a pulse of energy that rippled across space, visible to every ship, every being, as if Earth itself had announced to the galaxy, "The time has come, and those who would harm this planet will face consequences beyond imagination." And then she vanished. Corvin realized then that this was no longer about pride, or politics, or past wars, but about survival. And every fleet that had once sought to destroy Earth now knew that their purpose had changed, that they must fight alongside humans, or be destroyed themselves by what was coming. And as the galaxy's greatest commanders looked at each other in stunned silence, a deep tremor ran through space, felt in every system, signaling that the enemy was close. And for the first time, the galaxy understood that Earth had not been the threat. It had been the only hope, the final shield against a darkness that would consume everything if humans did not rise to meet it. And Corvin whispered to himself as he watched the massive base stabilize and glow with more power than any technology could explain. The galaxy once feared Earth, now it must stand behind it. And in that single moment, every star, every planet, and every being connected in silent anticipation of the coming war, because the final battle was about to begin, and the fate of all life rested on the humans who had just begun to awaken to their true destiny.